Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves, as we do every morning at 9 a.m. on between Monday and Friday. So, good morning, my beautiful friends. There are quite a few folks here today. Good morning, Tony and Shauna. Good morning, Dan, and good morning, Pepper. Good morning, Lauren. Wonderful to see all you guys here today on the wake up call. Yes, indeed, it is. It is Thursday. We are almost through with the week, and boy, what an eventful week it has been so far. Hope that you guys are having an amazing time. Dan, you and your family remain in my prayers, and yeah, just hope that your week also is going fairly smooth, or as smoothly as it could go. Anyways, yeah, we're here to say some nice things about ourselves and ultimately to speak life into our own experience. And so we're going to do what we do every morning at 9 a.m. on between Monday and Friday. I'll pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we are going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. As we do that, we are building into our lives. We are changing up our experiences. We are giving ourselves all the tools necessary in order to have an amazing day. And the fact is that the way that we spend our lives is inherently the way that we spend our days. And so let's make this day as awesome as it possibly can be. And in the end, when we look back at our lives, we will know for certain that we lived awesome lives. So let's pull a card off the top of the deck and say that today I am accountable. I am accountable. I take responsibility for my actions. So I am accountable. I take responsibility for my actions. Are you accountable? You are accountable. You take responsibility for your actions. Well, I'm going to take responsibility right now for writing that down in the comments. Writing down that I am accountable and that I take responsibility for my actions. And as I do that, well, let me tell you, I am bringing this card into my life right away. The word responsibility is right there in the word. The meaning is right there in the word response ability. And so that just means the ability to respond. Not just the ability to respond, though, the willingness to respond. Accountability is the willingness to be responsible, is the willingness to see something that isn't the way that we think it ought to be and change it. I remember that when I was younger, of course, my parents said a lot about just be responsible, be responsible, and I never really understood how to be responsible until a friend of mine actually brought me over to a this little business conference, and we were talking about responsibility. This was basically like a leadership training thing, and we were talking basically about the way that we can be responsible and able to respond is responsibility. We were talking about corporate hierarchies and how people report to other people, and ultimately the goals of the organization are met. And the trainer took a $100 bill and pinned it to this little cork board that we had been using and asked us who is responsible for that $100 bill. And we talked for a while about how who was the maybe the person who the person who had brought the $100 bill in would be responsible for it, or perhaps how the government would be responsible for it, for printing it in the first place, or perhaps the president of the company was responsible for it because they were the ones they were the one who had originally envisioned the situation during which or had created the container in which that $100 bill could come. And so we continued to talk about that, but finally one of the people just stood up and grabbed the $100 bill and moved it. They took the $100 bill and they put it from one side of the corkboard over to the other side of the corkboard and said, "There, I'm responsible for it. I've actually moved it from one side to the other." And the trainer was like, "Absolutely. See, that's what responsibility is all about. It's about seeing something that isn't where you think it should be, or isn't in the place that you think that it needs to be at, and then taking the initiative to actually do something about it." And so and then the trainer gave that person the $100 bill and said, "See, responsibility comes with its privileges as well. because you took responsibility for this, you got the $100. And so I thought it was a really cool way of doing it, and I wish that I had been brave enough at that time in my life to just walk up to that corkboard and move that myself. But quite honestly, the thought hadn't even crossed my mind, because at the time I was still very much being trained as to what or how to be responsible. To be to be accountable is to to basically be willing to be held accountable for our actions. It basically means that we are that we allow ourselves, or that we open ourselves up to being, well, to being counted, and to have our actions counted. And so we are accountable. And so as we take responsibility for our actions, then our actions themselves are quantifiable, and uh, we are able to see that we are doing, we are further along the path today than we were yesterday. And being accountable is such an important thing, because as we are members of the various teams that we're members of, and even as we just kind of go through life and are members of society, we have to be accountable for the things that we do, because ultimately the things that we do define our lives. And so let's be that today. Let's make sure that we are accountable, because when we are accountable, then we are going to be more intentional about whatever it is that we're doing. And so accountability and intentionality and responsibility are all very much similarly related to each other. And they all have to do with how congruent are we with the actions that we are taking. How, how much are we really on board with our own actions. And so today I'm quite accountable. I have several things to do for various clients that I've told them that I would do, and some stuff I said that I would do for my business partners, stuff that I have to do around the house. And in the end, I'm going to look back at today, and I'm going to be able to provide concrete evidence about what it was that I actually did. And because of that, that is what makes me accountable. And so I am accountable today, and you are accountable as well. We take responsibility for our actions. See, as we do this, we open ourselves up to new ways that we can be accountable, new ways that we can be responsible, and ultimately are able to take more of leadership roles, because responsibility and accountability are rarefied traits. They're like leadership. They're so rare that when they are found in people, that they are highly compensated. And so being accountable, being responsible, and basically being willing to quantify our lives, and to do things that we are willing to have, for lack of a better word, judged by others, that opens us up to other opportunities that we may never, or we may not have had before. It is a sign of maturity to be willing to be accountable. It is a sign of maturity to be willing to be responsible. And so as we do more of this in our lives, we are going to have new opportunities to collaborate with others that open up to us, because we will have proven ourselves reliable and predictable in these ways. All right, so I am accountable today. I'm accountable to do a lot of stuff. This is Thursday, and I have many, many places to go and people to see and things to do. So I'm going to get on it. And so I want to say thank you guys again so much for being here. My very first accountability for the morning is done. My first responsibility for the morning is done, which is popping onto the wake-up call and actually actually getting on here at 9 a.m. and doing this call. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for being here. So good morning again to Tony. Thank you so much for sharing this stream, Tony. You are amazing. And check out the Pinterest board. We have a Pinterest board with, man, at this point, several hundred new cards, and or several hundred cards on it. And there are, I think, 10 or 15 of them coming up right now. Pepper is uploading them to the board. I think we were like almost 3,000 monthly views as of yesterday.
We just reached 3,000 this morning.
Oh, we just reached 3,000 this morning, Pepper tells me. So how cool is that? But anyways, yeah, we just reached about 3,000 monthly views, and it's so neat that vehicle is bringing this message to a completely different audience. People who I really don't know are receiving it, or who they are that are receiving it. Just really cool. The power of the internet's rad. So, anyways, but when you guys share this, you are being a part of that. So, thank you. Good morning, Lauren. It's wonderful to see you today. Good morning, Shauna and Dan. Wonderful to see you guys. Thanks again to Pepper for moderating my Twitch stream. Haven't seen a scammer or a spammer since you started to do that. And let's see here. I think that's about all the folks who came by today. So I'm accountable for the rest of my day, so I'm going to get on it. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I think you're amazing. I'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. where we will go through an overview of these cards and pretty much just take a look and see where the cards took us this week. But until we meet again, yeah, this is your daily reminder that you're awesome, your daily reminder that you are accountable, and that today you're going to have opportunities to take responsibility for your actions. Talk to y'all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, aloha from paradise.